very much developed this project with the Citizens Advice Bureau 4 years ago. 1 year was a development phase, and for the last 3 years we've been working together. I suppose the way to describe the partnership is that the expert advice and the kind of training and upskilling and equipping people to deliver the advice, that very much comes from the Citizens Advice part of the partnership. And our part of the partnership very much comes from unlocking our networks. Our networks of faith groups, community groups, places of association, is our relationships with them and our collaboration with them. How do we bring that collaboration together with the expertise that the Citizens Advice Bureau bring, and meshing it together to kind of create and emerge something new from that?
We've really benefited from working with WCEN, probably the key thing is this understanding that people in need don't come to advice centres for help necessarily, even if they have advice needs. So once we'd identified that as an issue, then breaking down the barriers and increasing trust in communities and getting connections into our services from communities who are in great need of advice but don't necessarily identify with us or trust us. And together, Wandsworth, the Community Empowerment Network and Sister Advice Wandsworth have really made great links with the communities in Wandsworth and really strengthened, I think, their advice knowledge and their trust in us.
We've helped a lot of people who are facing hardship in Wandsworth with advice and support, and our advisors have worked really hard to work with other organisations to provide support in really complex cases and move people past a point of crisis. And we've worked with our partner organisations to develop the advice first aid training so that we're training organisations in an introduction to benefits, housing, debt, and really giving them the knowledge and skills that they need to help people in their communities, and then have the confidence to refer on to Citizens Advice when people need specialist advice.
So I've been to the last two, and each time they get better, because what I really like is the network of bringing people together. I see residents with multiple problems, and I can talk to community groups who may help with language, who will know about benefits. So we've got a kind of hotline to the Citizens Advice professionals, really.
So for me, the difference in time and just expanding the education and training that I've gotten with them has meant more actual impact for us and the families. Before it was just a bit of a supplement and a little bit extra that we would give the families, a little bit more information, and now I think we're actually making things that really impact, getting them into better housing, getting rid of a debt that's on their credit. I mean, we never had that before, that capability. We never were doing that before. So just in a year's time, we're actually making those little differences.
So I think there's a real mix of different experiences and different expertise in the room. Some people with a lot of experience in welfare rights advice, and some people with experience in housing, and some who work perhaps a bit more closely in the community but who aren't necessarily trained in those areas. And so it was really useful and really interesting to see how those people interacted whilst we were doing the exercise. And there was a sense that some of them maybe would like to be more involved and would like to be more integrated into that wider network. And I think what today's done really well is show the power of that network and show actually that there are ways you can get connected, there are ways that you can help your clients who are walking through your doors, as well as keeping involved in what other organisations are doing.
Can't count the benefit that we gain from this project, especially for my personal development as a community leader in Wandsworth. We started our advocacy project. It was kind of like quick support and advice to give to others without any knowledge. But after we attended the assessor trainings and the first aid training, it developed my skills and organization skills in order to give effective support to the individuals.
I was invited today to share my experience because I went through hardship, and I have received a lot of support from the Citizen Bureau Advice, whereby they gathered all my evidence together and they sent it through the council. Basically, I was homeless, pretty much, evicted from my apartment with my children, and on the top of it I was undergoing chemotherapy because I have cancer, and so it was overwhelming. And although I had the support from my GP and my oncologist and my psychologist who have written support letters on my behalf and sent them to the council, for some reason they've not been acted upon. So only then, only after the Citizen Bureau Advisor collected all the evidence for me and they sent it to the council, then actually some support has arrived quite promptly as well, which was amazing.
Well, these days it's all about co-production, really, helping each other to help the vulnerable, those who need our help. And I think the partnership between the CEN and the Citizens Advice has worked really well. I have been on the first aid course, the advice first aid course, so it's really increased my awareness of the benefit system.
I think we would like to secure funding for another 4 or 5 year project. I think we really want to build on the work we've already done with the Advice First Aid partners. You know, I talked about how we've started working out some nitty-gritty of how they can deliver advice in their communities, but that work has just started, so we really need to continue it.
We've built good relationships now, but we need to make those relationships and those links sustainable and strong. And so what I'd like to do is us to do some capacity work with those organisations to get them to help them obtain the resources to develop and deliver their own advice services with our support.
After 3 years or so of doing this, it's been a start. I don't see this, it's going to die down. It's going to get bigger. The need is going to always be there. So we need more people invested. We need to build bridges with the local councils and other political and people who have influence in this area so that they're on board and they support it so that we can keep growing along with the need.